Hey, Samuel! Let Mr. Fix-It in. He's knocking on the window.
Oh, well, thanks for having me in here, guys. I'll just pull up a chair, take off this
Did anyone see you?
No, I don't think anybody see me. I got in here just like you guys said. I followed your instructions. I came in, well, what is it, 3 in the morning? Came in at night. I knew it's a secret meeting. You guys said that, so I did all the research, and I could tell by the research that this is a secret meeting. So, okay. Well,
let's hear what you have to say. We've been waiting here all night.
Okay, where are we now? Hey, by the way, guys, thanks for the Jamaican rum with a little bit of Coke in there. Very nice. Glad you brought that in. I'm not really a big Scotch drinker. It's too strong. I like the sweeter stuff. Okay. Now, we'll get into the scriptures. We always have revelations when we have a little bit of the good stuff. Okay, so what I was looking at is those scriptures you guys sent me, and they were just amazing. I was looking at this one in Revelation 8, and I went down to verse 10, and it says the third angel, let's get that up on the screen here. The third angel blew his trumpet, and a great star fell from heaven. So this reminds me of what's going to happen with this asteroid coming. This meteorite. No, it's an asteroid. Yeah, because it's bigger. Well, it says here, it's blazing like a torch, and it fell on a third of the rivers and on the springs of water. And the name of the star is Wormwood. So other people are calling it Wormwood. I was doing some research. And it says a third of the waters became wormwood, and many people died from the water because it had been made bitter. So obviously this thing caused some destruction on the earth. And it goes on to say in verse 12, a fourth angel blew his trumpet, and a third of the sun was struck, and a third of the moon, and a third of the stars, so that the third of their light might be darkened, and a third of the day might be kept from shining, and likewise a third of the night. So it sounds to me like when this asteroid hits, it's going to cause the sun to go out for a third of the earth. It's going to affect a third of the earth, it looks like. And then in verse 13, it says, then I looked, and I heard an eagle crying with a loud voice as it flew directly overhead, woe, woe, woe to those who dwell on the earth at the blasts of the other trumpets, and the three angels are about to blow. So that's as far as I went. That's what you guys told me to research. That's what it is. And I do see a correlation. Now, when I looked at this asteroid, and I wanted to see if it was real. So I went to more of a NASA look. So let's just look at this together.
In 2004, astronomers discovered a dangerous asteroid lurking in space, whose collision could cause as much damage to Earth as done by the Chicxulub impactor, wiping out the entire population of non-avian dinosaurs some 66 million years ago. Initially designated 2004 MN4, this 340-meter wide rock at 170 million kilometers from Earth didn't seem very interesting. But soon, the analysis suggested that it had a 1 in 37 probability of hitting the Earth in 2029. That's the highest probability ever calculated for a substantial asteroid strike recorded in history. The rock was regarded as the most dangerous asteroid discovered so far. It scared people, and the asteroid was soon named Apophis. After
So that's named after the Egyptian god. So you guys can look at this. I linked it in here. And that's kind of interesting. So that asteroid is real and it is coming. And they're predicting it's going to be here in 2029. Now, what's interesting about that is these guys, the Skywatch guys, and I'll link their video, but just I'll do the tail end. These guys linked it to the ancient Essenes, and the ancient Essenes have a calendar system that is very accurate. In fact, they predicted when Jesus would be crucified, and that came true. So their predictions have come true. So the way I'm looking at it is rather than the Watchtower making the predictions, they can let the ancient Essenes make the predictions. And then if it doesn't follow through, then the Watchtower is not guilty anymore. It kind of gets you guys off the loop. But let's watch what these other guys are doing and see if we can do it a little different.
Talking about Ragnarok, you and Dr. Ken Johnson talk about the Essenes and their prophetic calendar. Can you briefly explain how the Essenes understood human history and why their calendar is so important?
The Essene calendar is so important because it's the biblical calendar, and not just in ancient history, but in prophecy too. So the Bible uses the same calendar throughout the whole thing. Now, in the New Testament, there were two calendars going on. So in the Gospels, you get a little bit of that. But by and large, it's the Essene calendar. That's what we call it today, even though the Essenes were just using something that Jewish people were using thousands of years before that.
Okay.
So why it's important is we can apply this to prophecy. There's a whole bunch of prophecy in Daniel and Revelation that gives us day counts. We can use those day counts with the Essene calendar to try to predict when some of this stuff might happen. Now, what's really interesting is it wasn't only a yearly calendar. They also had this view of human history. They saw all of human history as a span of 7,000 years, split up into ages and onas and jubilees and all these words that we don't have time to really get into. But the main thing that they showed was that throughout these ages last 2,000 years, there was a period of about 50 years, a jubilee, at the end of these ages that was a transition point to the next one. Well, according to the Essenes, the age of grace that we live in now started in 75 AD. So 2075 should be the end of our 2,000-year age, but back up 50 years because we have a transition point, 2025. So we have 2025 to 2075. Well, what's interesting is Apophis is supposed to hit in 2029, specifically in April.
Okay.
If the Essenes are right about 2025, if we have this transition point, and if the tribulation actually starts there, that puts Apophis right in the middle where it's supposed to belong.
And the thing is, Josh, the Essenes, I guess in the last few years, well, me and even a lot of archaeologists and scholars have become excited by the recognition of how accurate their prophecies really were.
Yeah.
And we examined some of those in this documentary film. We also examined them in the book, The Messenger, which is featured. That was the part that was striking to me. And then the thought comes to me, well, if they were that accurate, right, all throughout ancient history, saying when Jesus would arrive, the year 32 AD, when he would be crucified, for them to have been that accurate, if they're now saying, and they are, that in the year 2025, mankind is going to enter into its last era, its last Jubilee. And that's 3.5 years before the arrival of what I believe to be wormwood. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that makes a hair stand up on the back of your neck. But there's one other place in the film, I don't even know if you can do it as quickly as you need to, but you also pinpoint how it would be 2,000 years exactly by the end of that era that Jesus would be set to return. Right?
Yeah, so this is amazing. So the Essenes accurately predicted down to the year that 32 AD when Jesus would be crucified, well, the Messiah, when the Messiah would be crucified and die for our sins. Well, what's amazing about that is, yes, if you add 2,000 years to that, which we now know is the length of an age, that's 2032. That's 7 years after 2025, and that's 3.5 years after Wormwood, if Wormwood is the Apophis asteroid. So that all lines up perfectly with the tribulation, if the tribulation does actually start in 2025.
It's amazing. It's all laid out in the film, but it's one of those points in the film where people are just going to have their mind blown.
I also want to make very quick mention, in addition to the Ragnarok DVD, there's also a couple of other DVDs in this package that we're offering. Drew, tell us a little bit about the bonus content.
Sure. With making a movie,
Okay, so we'll just stop it there because these guys are just selling their literature. So I think this would be a good opportunity for the governing body to get down there and sell their literature on this and actually get over to where this Kirwam or whatever this place is, where the Dead Sea Scrolls are. Now, I think what we have that these guys don't have, and these guys actually think they're going to get raptured up, perhaps. That's what a lot of people believe. They're going to get raptured up. And I think what we have is a little better, because here it is in 2 Thessalonians 2. It says, "Let no one deceive or beguile you in any way, for that day will not come except the apostasy comes first, unless the predicted great falling away of those who have professed to be Christians has come." And you see, this is what's happening. There's a great falling away of people who were once Christians. They're falling away from religion in general. And we're living in that time, and it is just going to get worse. So perhaps 2025 is the crumbling of religion. And perhaps that's what's happening. All the way up to people are leaving religion, because now people are looking at science. They're looking at NASA, watching this asteroid come, and people are now putting their faith in man, because man is going to send up a rocket ship, and they're going to view this thing, and they might even send people up. It's hard to say. But if they have to, and they're not telling us everything, but this is coming between the satellite and the Earth. So it's coming very close. It's the closest ever out of all the calculations. So they may have to blow the thing up. And even if they blow it up, there could be fragments, which could still cause some devastation, but it might not cause annihilation. So, but now the person or group that shoots this thing out of the sky will now become the new God, because they have now saved the planet. So now we have the Antichrist, the man of lawlessness, is revealed. So it says, "Those who oppose and exalts himself so proudly and insolently against and over all that is called God or that is worshipped, even to his actually taking his seat in the temple of God, proclaiming that he himself is God." And you see, so this group, this man, whoever shoots this thing out of the sky, will now, it's like winning the World War. It's like dropping the atomic bomb. So the nation that won the World War II, their dollar is now all over the world. It's the world dollar. So whoever protects the earth to that degree will now become the world ruler. And it'll be the end of an age. Now it goes on to say, it says in verse 9, "The coming of the lawless one, the Antichrist, is through the activity and working of Satan, and will be attended by great power and with all sorts of," uses in brackets, "pretended miracles and signs and delusive marvels, all of them lying wonders." So that's yet to be seen. So that's kind of what we have on the scriptural thing so far, and I'll show you what we've put together for the Watchtower magazines upcoming to share this. Okay, so here we're looking at Jesus and the Essenes. So this is where we send one of the governing bodies, or along with the writing committees, or a couple of the governing bodies, maybe the two new guys in the back there. This would be a good job for them. Those two new guys back there. Forget your guys' names, but you guys look ready to go. So maybe they go and check this Jesus and the Essenes out. And so here's a little chart I did up for you guys to look at. And this little chart shows the end of age on Essenes Dead Sea Scroll predictions. So no longer the Watchtower predictions, but we base it all on the Essenes and the Dead Sea Scrolls predictions. So of course, the translating committee or whatever Bible committee that has all the Greek speaking and Hebrew speaking scholars, they would go along with the two new guys and check the Essenes out, check the Dead Sea Scrolls out, these predictions. See if these guys from Sky TV are actually on track with something. I think they could be, but it needs a little bit more investigation. And here's what we have based on some of their research. Churches fall. You see, we're pegging that a little different. They think they're going to get raptured, but the churches all fall, including the Jehovah's Witness churches. That's why you see all the sex abuse and all these things culminating, because it's all going to crumble. All of the organized religion is going to crumble 2025. And then that's that 3.5-year period. The meteor comes 2029. And this is the rise of the Antichrist, because whoever shoots that thing down becomes the ruler, becomes God of the earth, save the earth. So now, well, of course, when churches fall, there's many people lost spiritually, 3.5 years, rise of the Antichrist. So people now have something to believe in. You see, people want to believe in something. There's chaos with no belief. So the churches are all shutting their lights off right now, even, and it's just going to get worse. So many people are going to be lost spiritually. So then we have this rise of this Antichrist, and now people have something to believe in. So now for the next 3.5 years, there's control and allegiance towards this Antichrist that shot this meteor out of the sky. And this is where the Essenes predict the start of a new age. 1,000 years of peace begins right here, 2032. This is this new age. And this new age starts to come in. And it's really probably 50 years after this 2025, more like 2075. But we'll talk about that in some of the magazines. So let's go to the next thing. So we send some of the governing body down to those Dead Sea Scroll areas, these caves. And here's our magazines. So some of the magazines we come out with is the Apophis, April 2029, Beginning of Chaos, Start of the Antichrist. And this will drive up our subscribers. This will drive up our money, our donations, because now all the publishers will see that there's real hard evidence, there's science. And we'll even feature some of the NASA videos, and we'll use some of that to our benefit. So then we go into some of the other proposed watchtowers, End of Times. We have this one, End of Times 2029, End of Time 2029. Kind of a little bit of a rhyme. End of Time 2029, End of Time 2029. Make a new Kingdom melody or something out of that. Apophis coming. You know, we could replay some of these old articles. So this is going to knock down the current system of things. It's going to change. This Antichrist will take over. So now, 2025, end of grace, end of a Jubilee period, says the ancient Essenes. So we do a whole write-up based on our two boys at the back going down, getting all this information. It'll be all current. And now, 2032 is the return of Christ, end of the Antichrist. And again, featuring some of our already magazines, just refeaturing them really into this new end of times. Now, then we predict the death of Christ, ancient Essenes. Now, not us, it's the ancient Essenes. They predicted it all. They did it all. It all came true. Their predictions work. And, this is where we kind of walk away from 1914, walk away from Russell, walk away from Rutherford. You guys become the new Rutherford. The governing body becomes the new light, the new nucleus of the connection to God. So by bringing this all to light. So then we have salvation at hand. Stay close to Jehovah. We want to make sure that the sheep know that salvation is coming. They don't have to worry about this. This is all good news. And then at last, it's here, Ramapo on earth. So this is where we pull in our Ramapo studio, and we show the Ramapo on earth, and we keep working the Ramapo. And now we talk about the 1,000-year reign of peace, Ramapo on earth. Again, we do videos at Ramapo, the movie theater, the movie studio, and we build all kinds of movies featuring all this stuff. And then the governing body, finally, the governing body, you guys right here, all of you guys right here, finally, you get lifted up and you rule in heaven. And this will happen 2032, somewhere in there. Maybe it'll happen through the 50 years. We'll wait and see. let's see what happens. We can roll this out as it happens. We won't put anything definitive on that, but we know it's going to happen for sure. Now, this is important for the great crowd. The Ramapo equals the kingdom on earth. So I think let's build this Ramapo up as a kingdom on earth, and this is how we're going to bring in the money and get this thing built. Rule from heaven. Ramapo, kingdom on earth, rule from heaven. And this will really help the great crowd. Now, this is where we'll pull in the 2075, December 2075. Stay alive till 75. 2075, stay alive till 75. How do you like that one? So we know that if this meteor doesn't hit this time around, it just misses, we can always slide that over to 75. Stay alive till 75. It'll be a nice transition. Again, we'll blame it on the Essenes. We didn't quite read it right, but we'll be long gone. But this way, the next generation of Jehovah's Witnesses, the governing body, probably the guys back there, the two new guys, the young guys, will have a chance to roll this out in 2075. So now we're talking about building for the future, selling CDs, movies. Let's get this on our movie theater. Now, here's some of the things I wanted to bring to your attention. This is the calendar that they were talking about. So the writing committee, the research committee will have to figure all that out and research and show us that. Now, then who can read this stuff? 2025 starts the final age of man. So you guys will have to prove this and write your own book, go to these caves, do a tour, spend some of the money that you guys have sitting there, go for a trip. This is a research trip. And there's a tablet. This represents the calendar. And here's some more of these scriptures. So that they found in the Dead Sea Scrolls. So there's quite a thing happening, and I think this is really going to take the organization to the next level, abandon the 1914 stuff. And now here we have the new time chart, the new chart that we can move forward on. End of age. Let's call it that. Let's make this the Essenes, the Dead Sea Scroll predictions, not our predictions. We're just sharing this light. It's not new light. It's actually old light. But it's new because the Dead Sea Scrolls have just been uncovered in the last 50 or so years that scholars can go down and look at them. So isn't this wonderful, friends, brothers? I think we have something really good going on here. So, yeah, let's get this rolling and see what happens. What do you guys all think?
Let's go for it.
Yes, I agree.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, well, you might need to...
Let's jump on this idea.
Yeah, I like what you're saying there. Jump on it. Jump on it, yeah.
Will it make us money?
Yeah, certainly it will make money for Ramapo. Yep.
End times predictions worked for us before.
End time predictions did work before. So I think this is a win-win. What do you guys think? Okay. Cheers.